Hello, everybody. My name is John Porteous, and this presentation will be an easy introduction to TOEIC. It should take about 30 minutes, maybe faster, maybe. Also, if you want, you can read what I am saying at the bottom of the screens if you choose CC. Okay, let's get started. This seminar will discuss the following 4 points. First will be why study TOEIC? Why? So why study TOEIC? The second part will be about the TOEIC test. Background information. Kind of interesting. The third point, or the third topic, will be TOEIC scores and grading. And the fourth point will be how the English Learning Support Centre can help you to get your score up. Okay, let's get started. Why study TOEIC? Well, probably the number one reason people study TOEIC is for job hunting. Many employers will want to know your TOEIC score. Maybe they won't ask you straight away. Maybe they ask you after you get the job, but many employers, many new bosses will want to know your score. Also, once you start working, often to get a promotion at work, maybe they'll want you to get a certain level of TOEIC, maybe 500, maybe 600 points. Many companies, if they have overseas branches, they might need you to get a certain TOEIC score. Or you could be traveling on holiday. And the fourth reason is to improve your English. And I'll come back to that soon. Now, how many new employers want to know your TOEIC score? 20% say always. 40% say sometimes. Maybe it depends on what job in the company you will be doing. 15% say maybe soon. So it can be very important to have your TOEIC score for work. What score do employers want? Well, it really depends. It can be different for every industry and also different for each company within an industry. Some companies I know of are 400, but that's unusual. Usually it's up at 500 or 600, and then some companies will want 700. So it really depends. Okay, let's start talking about what the TOEIC test is. Now, TOEIC, it stands for Test of English for International Communication, TOEIC. Now, the first point is TOEIC is only a test. The test shows your English level. It doesn't show anything else. It only shows your English level. Now, doing the test does not improve your English. However, studying for the test does improve your English and your test score. So studying for the test is very important. In fact, I'll show you this graph. Here we have TOEIC score on the vertical axis, and then we have which grade or year a student is. This could also just be the years you are studying TOEIC. Now, if you do the TOEIC test, say in first year, when you are a freshman, and you don't do any English study, no TOEIC study, your score will remain very, very flat, maybe go up a little bit. However, if you do study English and study TOEIC, your TOEIC score will go up. And you can actually get a very good score if you study effectively. If you do a good study program, your TOEIC score can go up a lot. Now, are there other tests? Of course, there are many, many other tests. 3 of the big ones that people know is Aiken STEP, so Aiken test. Many Japanese students do this test in junior high school and high school. The next 2 tests, TOEFL and IELTS, they're actually a more difficult test because they also have speaking and writing. But TOEIC is a good step to get up to TOEFL and IELTS. Just like Aiken is a good step for TOEIC, TOEIC is a good step for TOEFL and IELTS. Now, within the TOEIC test, there are 3 different types of TOEIC test. The first is the most common one, TOEIC SP. Now, SP stands for Secure Program. Now, this is organized directly by ETS. ETS is Educational Testing Services. That is the company that owns TOEIC. So if you are going to take the SP test, you will book on the internet and they will tell you where to go to sit the TOEIC test. There is also TOEIC IP. Now, IP is Institutional Program. And so that is where companies and schools and universities can do the TOEIC test. We give the TOEIC test, and the test is written and marked by Educational Testing Services, but it's organized through the university. And this is a test that we do through the English Learning Support Centre 2 times every year. There is also a TOEIC speaking and writing test, TOEIC S&W. This test is not so popular at the moment. Maybe in the future it will be more popular. There is also a 4th type of TOEIC test, which is TOEIC Bridge, and that's sort of an easier level TOEIC. Okay, how much? Oh yes, everybody wants to know how much does it cost? Well, at the moment, TOEIC is about 8,000 yen to do the listening and reading test. So that's the TOEIC SP test. If you book online, it's about 8,000 yen. Now, TOEIC IP is about half the price, just roughly about half the price. But if you do TOEIC IP test through the English Learning Support Centre, there is minus 1,000 yen every time you take the test. So instead of being just half price. It's half price minus 1,000 yen the first time you take it. The second time you take it, it will be minus 2,000 yen, then minus 3,000 yen the next time, and after that it will be free. Very, very good. So doing the TOEIC IP test through the English Learning Support Centre is a very, very good idea. Okay, I'll give you some interesting background facts on the TOEIC test. Now, the first part is over 2.4 million Japanese TOEIC tests were done in 2019. That's the latest figures I have. And there are about 6 million people took the TOEIC test worldwide in every country. So what you can see from that is TOEIC is very, very popular in Japan, but not so popular in other countries. Still popular in Malaysia, South Korea. You can do it in Europe, you can do it in America and in other countries. But it's very, very popular in Japan. Now, many people, or some people, say the TOEIC test is not good. They don't like the TOEIC test. The reasons are some of the following points. The first thing is TOEIC listening and reading does not test speaking or writing. It only does listening and reading. So many English teachers will say, why? Really, for English level, it should have speaking or writing. Many Japanese students are very happy that it does not have speaking. That's okay. Now, this is a very, very important point. Students often get a low score the first time they do the TOEIC test because you do not know the TOEIC test. So they get a low score and they give up. They just think, it is too difficult. Don't give up. We will show you how you can get a much higher score. Never give up. Now, another reason some people do not like the TOEIC test is the test focuses on business English. But business English is also everyday English. And because many companies want to know your TOEIC score, it makes it important. Also, it's a test. Tests are usually not fun. I don't know many people which enjoy doing TOEIC test. Okay, why is the TOEIC test so difficult when people start doing it? Well, many students have done Aiken test, where you do grade 5. If you pass, you go up to grade 4. If you pass, you go up to grade 3. If you don't pass, you have to do grade pre-2 again. So you might do it 2 times or 3 times. And when you pass, then you go up. And that's quite nice because the questions at each level are sort of for that level. They don't have very difficult questions. But TOEIC, 1/3 of the questions are easy. 1/3 of the questions are medium. 1/3 of the questions are difficult. So advanced level questions. Oops, sorry. So the low score in TOEIC is 10 and the high score is 990. 500 is about the middle. The average first-time test score for NIT students is about 330 points. All of these questions, until your English level goes up, are difficult. As your score goes up, the test is not so bad. But at the beginning, you have all of these difficult questions, which are not fun. So, even if you get a low score the first time, it does not matter. You have to learn how to get your TOEIC score up. Now, as I said, TOEIC is showing your English level. So as your English level goes up, your TOEIC score should go up. Also, as you study TOEIC, that will also help increase your score. So you have to study English and you have to get used to doing the TOEIC test. You have to study the TOEIC test as well. What happens once you get used to the TOEIC test, after you've done it 3, 4, 5 times, you learn how to do the test, good techniques. After that, as your English goes up, your TOEIC score will go up at the same time. So a very important point. Now, scores and gradings. As I said, the high score is 990. The low score is 10. Write your name, woohoo, 10 points. See you later. The average score for a university graduate in Japan, so after 4 years of university, the average score is about 500. So that is a good target to aim for, first of all, 500. So the average first score is 330, but that's just first time. Once you get used to doing the test, your score will go up. Now, NIT's score the first time, the average, the average NIT score is about 330. We find it is going up every year for first-time students. This means some students will score 250 and some students will score 450. That's all right, it's just average. It does not matter where you score at the beginning. As long as you study both English and TOEIC, your score will go up. So a good first goal is to aim for 500 points. Good goal. This is an important point. It'll often take 3 or 4 tests before your score starts to go up. This is as you learn how to do the TOEIC test. So, but just make sure you do some TOEIC tests. Now, the test itself. The test is not about pass or fail. You just come out with your English level. Maybe it's higher, maybe it's lower. That's okay. Now, the test itself is 2 hours and there are 200 questions. Now, this is the answer sheet we use for our practice tests in the English Learning Support Centre, MOGI test. But it's very, very similar to the one you use in the TOEIC IP and SP test. You'll notice there's a listening section and a reading section. Each section will have 100 questions, so there's 200 questions in all. You'll also notice that it's all bubble answer questions. Okay, the listening section, 100 questions and 45 minutes. If you have done Aiken test, you will find the questions are very similar style of questions. Part 1 has photographs, but there is only 6 questions. Part 2 is question and response. So one person will do a question and there will be a response and you answer that. And there's 25 questions. Part 3 will be a conversation between 2 or 3 people. And part 4 are talks. So that might be an announcement or notice or advertisement. And that is 39 and 30 questions. So after 45 minutes, the audio, the CD will stop and you carry on with the reading test. Now in the reading test, there's 3 parts, 100 questions and 75 minutes. So if there's 100 questions and 75 minutes, that means the average time for each question is 45 seconds. That's actually very fast. You have to be able to read and answer questions quickly. But just remember, some of the questions are the advanced level questions. If you don't know that question answer, don't worry. One day you will. So in part 5, it's incomplete sentences. So you just have to do one word into a sentence. Part 6, text completion. There will be a reading passage you read, and then there will be 4 questions about that reading passage, which you have to answer. There is only 16 questions, so 4 pieces of reading. And then part 7 is reading comprehension. And this will have more reading, longer reading, and there might be 2 questions, 3 questions, 4 questions, or even 5 questions about that passage. And there are 54 questions in total. So it's quite long. Many students are getting very, very tired by the end of the test. Now, important points. Now, as I said before, most students get a low score the first time they do the test. The talking will sound very fast. There will also be many difficult questions, those advanced level questions. And also time. There is not enough time. You have to be able to read quickly. Now, all of these things can be overcome. You can do it. You just have to study, and we will help you do that. Learning the techniques of the test can increase your score by 100 points. So normally, if you do the test maybe 3 times, you start to learn the techniques of how to answer and also how to see which questions are difficult or not. And that can increase your score by 100 points, which is good. Now, this is the last part. How can the English Learning Support Centre help you? Well, there's actually many ways we can help you. At the English Learning Support Centre, you can do practice tests, so mogi tests. They're 0 yen, so less stress. Still zero fun, but less stress. And you're welcome to do those anytime. We also do the TOEIC IP test in the spring and fall semester. This is really good to do. As I mentioned earlier, the price goes down each time you do it, so it gets down to free. It's really good to do. I recommend you do it 2 times a year and keep doing it every year you are at NIT. It makes a big difference. Now, also, we can help give you direction, so a focus. Often when students first do the TOEIC test, there's so many things that you could do, and people don't know what to do. So we can help give you direction. We can show you, okay, do this, do this, do this. And that will really, really help you. Some study is more effective than other study. It will help you more. And a lot of study for English and for TOEIC is actually fun. Really, really good. We can also talk about techniques to increase your score. We can help a lot with that. Also, we have many TOEIC textbooks. You can borrow them for a week or 2 weeks. You can find out which books you like and borrow them. You like it, maybe you will buy a copy. Also, as your TOEIC level goes up, there are different books which are very effective. Also, one of the best things is you can listen and talk with a native English speaker. It's really good to improve your talking. Even though the test does not have talking, your English level depends on listening, reading, talking or speaking, and writing. So talking and getting used to using English and listening to English at a natural speed really, really helps. And it's fun. Okay, that is the end of this presentation. Good luck with your TOEIC test. Don't delay. Make sure you do it. You could either do the free practice test, but I recommend doing the TOEIC IP test through the English Learning Support Centre. It's a great way to start. Then over your time at NIT, your English level will go up, your TOEIC score will go up, and it will really help you with getting a great job. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please come in and ask, or you can also ask online on Teams. Yeah, we'd love to see you. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.